my song. Let's sing it. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Come on, it's gonna be fucking awesome. You know the words. It's gonna be fucking awesome. That's it, say. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah!
Howdy, howdy, howdy. It's me, Jesse Blaze Snider, the coolest geek alive. How you doing? I'm doing really good. You know why I'm doing so good? Because my buddy Aaron has a Kickstarter running right now for his comic. I'm so excited. If you didn't have a chance to check out any of my books and support Fucking For Our Future or King of Kings, his book, Kneel Before Doomface, I think there's only 6 days left to get in on it. I just sent an update to all the people who backed us, just a month or two ago, and told everybody about the book. It's really great. Aaron, he deserves your time and attention. He's so talented, and the book is great. It's doing so good, and I'm living vicariously through my friend's great success with Kneel Before Doomface. So if you have a chance, go to Kickstarter, support one of my best friends, one of the most talented people in the comics industry, who's been working in the industry for years on lots of licensed comics and just tons of great stuff over the years. Aaron is responsible for Darkwing Duck coming to Boom and the Disney Afternoon coming to Boom Studios. He curated a lot of the Pixar and Muppets and Disney comics that came out not just from Boom, but later at Joe Books and other places. Aaron is the man, so he deserves your attention. And I just wanted to get that out of the way, number one, with a bullet today, because seriously, you only got 6 days left, and Aaron deserves your support. He is one of us. He is one of the coolest geeks alive, and I love him so much. So please, support Aaron. And what are we talking about today? South Park. I've been talking about, South Park and Trey and Matt. I want to talk about them completely as creative people, because they are two of the most brilliant creative people in the entertainment industry, period. They have really been selective over the years about what they've done, and their whole genesis in the first place of becoming such major players in the conversation about our culture. It's crazy. A lot of people nowadays know South Park from all of the specials. The South Park episodes used to be, by seasons. And then somewhere along the way, just recently, they started doing all these specials. And holy shit, these specials, I have a whole bunch of features that I want to do on tons of things that I really love. And there's a part of me that's like, I need to rewatch every single thing. And in some cases, it's just impossible. Like, it would take me forever to rewatch all of South Park. It would take me forever to rewatch all of their little side films and things that they did. I just did a feature on some of the great music that they have. And there's so much great music. I mean, go check out that episode alone just to get a focus on some of the different episodes that songs have come from and the movies that they've done. And I'm going to go through a lot of that stuff today, but not focused on the music. If you want to check out my show on Trey and Matt Parker as great songwriters, I think they're some of the greatest songwriters on planet Earth. They really are. They're great. Very funny, but quality. They're great at parody, taking a vibe and energy and like turning it into a song. One of the most famous ones that came up at a certain point somewhere along the way in the South Park process was the montage song. I'm pretty positive it was in an episode of South Park first, and it's come a few times, but it's so funny. It vibes like one of the songs from the Rocky franchise. And it's, the hour's approaching. You've got to pass some time. There's a whole thing of like when you need to show that we're progressing and show us the passage of time. That's called a montage. Every movie has a montage. Rocky had a montage. It's really montage. They are so fucking funny, and they are great at encapsulating what's kind of going on in the zeitgeist in one way or another. Years ago now, they had made what is called The Spirit of Christmas, which was a little special that they produced, which went around on VHS. They made it in 92. And they've talked about in interviews, literally hearing that other people were taking credit for the spirit of Christmas and saying that they made it. And like they had gotten to a point where they had like convinced people that they made it because it had gone around and become something that people were taking credit for and getting jobs from. Eventually, they were approached by a certain company that wanted to. They wanted it to be more like a family show, more like Family Guy or Simpsons, and they had said, well, we can. Everybody has got, all four of the boys have family, because in the initial spirit of Christmas, you get introduced to Cartman, you get introduced to Kenny and Stan and Kyle, the four main boys, the two main ones played by Trey and Matt as best friends themselves, and then their asshole friend Cartman, and then their friend Kenny, who would die on every episode, and you could never quite understand what he said. And often he was saying some really filthy stuff because he was like the representative of like the low class kid in their their group. And you also get Jesus and Santa. There's so much great stuff that's established in the very first episode of Spirit of Christmas. It still holds up, even though it's a weird sort of silliness. I mean, it's just really like kind of asinine and over the top with terrible language, and but it's very charming and very fun and has some heart, and at the time was very controversial. Like the language and the rhythm of it, it was way closer to sort of the language that you might see amongst your friends in the locker room or at a Dungeons and Dragons game, or wherever it is that you might be hanging out with your friends, and frosty language is flying out of each other's mouths and people are ragging on each other, and it really hit a chord. And when they were finally able to do the South Park TV show years later, it was pretty quickly became a big hit. But working up to that, they did a bunch of things. Hey everyone, with the holidays creeping up faster than your aunt's fruitcake recipe, I've got something way better to share with you. If you want to look sharp for all those festive gatherings and maybe finally win that Best Groomed award at the family dinner, check out Manscaped's latest masterpiece, the Chairman TM Pro Package. Trust me, it's like Rudolph for your face, guiding you to a smooth, irritation-free shave. Head over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using code CGA for 20% off and free shipping. I just got my Chairman TM Pro in the mail, and I gotta say, it's quite impressive. 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. They're like grooming superheroes for when you want that baby's bottom square-jawed smooth, or if you want to look like a brooding 90s superhero, you could use the skin-safe stubble trimmer for some clean but natural masculine stubble. I mean, really, this package is gorgeous to look at. It would make a great gift. And using it was even better. I mean, it was like the elves had made it just for me. The blades, pivoting head, adjust to every curve of my face. So, go ahead. Kiss that awkward jawline patch goodbye. No more pretending it doesn't exist while you hope nobody notices under the mistletoe. The Chairman TM Pro is also waterproof. It's easy to clean with a simple rinse and powerful enough to tackle up to 5 days worth of hair growth. And with up to 75 minutes of runtime on a single charge, you'll have plenty of juice to go from Santa's beard to smooth as a snow angel. Plus, this package also includes the Power Shaver Gel to get the ultimate wet shave experience, which was nice. This non-irritating, lubricating formula is made specifically to work with the Chairman TM Pro, providing a smooth and comfortable shave. Packed with skin-soothing ingredients that defend against redness and irritation, and it's dermatologist tested for sensitive skin. And to finish it off, we've got the Face Shave Soother. This aftershave serum is a game changer. Use it after shaving to hydrate your skin and soothe any post-shave irritation. It's designed to help reduce redness and defend against ingrown hairs and razor bumps. Get the Chairman TM Pro Package today and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CGA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code CGA at manscaped.com. That's CGA, as in coolest geek alive. Go to manscaped.com now. There's some things that I didn't get a chance to see, and most of these things I've only seen like once, but they were all great, and I have lots of friends who are bigger fans of some of these things, which include, there's a short called American History, which I never saw, but there is Cannibal the Musical, which I've seen like
probably 2 times, but it's been like 20 years since I've seen it. It's very funny. It's got some good songs. It's not like the finest quality of songs that they later were doing. They really have become great songwriters. They had a band called like it was like DDF. It was some letters. Maybe it'll come across while I'm doing it. While I'm looking through stuff. Cannibal the Musical is very funny. I don't remember the basic premise, but here I'll just read the thing. The sole survivor of an ill-fated mining expedition, oh that's right, tells how his taste for gold was replaced by that of human flesh. It's over the top, it's very low budget, but I highly recommend it. There's another short called Your Studio and You. I've never seen that one, but it looks like they star in it and wrote it. The Spirit of Christmas, we talked about. Time Warped, I'd never seen. Orgasmo, I've seen a few times. Again, it's probably been like 20 years since I've seen it because, I saw it around when it came out or whatever. So it's been a little bit of time, and it came out in 97. It's NC-17 because it's a lot of jokes around sex and stuff. Certainly a lot more sexual and raunchy than King of Fucking for Our Future is, which is mainly uses like eroticism as like a premise. This one's a bit more erotic, but funny. And then eventually when do we actually have, like, when does South Park go full up? See, South Park video game, South Park Rally. I can't get, see, because 99 is when Bigger, Longer, and Uncut come out. So I don't know. The Spirit of Christmas short in 95. Spirit of Christmas short in 92. So I guess around 95, South Park starts coming out, or 97, around when Orgasmo is coming out. They do the South Park video game, which their video games of South Park are awesome. They're very funny. They're very involved in them. There's music. There's the cut scenes are the humor is just as good as the humor in the episodes. I've played some of the games just because I love the show so much, and they're fun as fuck. As time went on, and they got more success with South Park, opportunities started to come their way. There's one thing that they don't take a lot of them, but there was one thing that came along, which is by like the Naked Gun humor people, which they're not my favorite humorists, and they didn't write this movie, but they star in Basketball as like best friends playing this like baseball mixed with basketball game, and there's a lot to like about it. It's the Naked Gun guys' sense of humor is kind of lame. That's the Don't Call Me Shirley guys, the guys who did Airplane and stuff. But the movie's funny, I think, because of them, because of their camaraderie, and like there's a lot to like about it. And then they also got the opportunity to produce a TV series, a live-action TV series for Comedy Central, which was where South Park was originally homed, called That's My Bush. That's My Bush was pretty funny. It was not a big success for them. I think it only went one season, 2008 episodes. Yeah, but it was pretty funny. Me at the time, I hated George Bush pretty good, and it seemed like a good thing to do. At the same time, I was at cross purposes with it because like the reason why I hated Bush was because he just seemed like such an idiot. You'd hear him do his speeches and shit. You'd be like, who the fuck is this retard? Forgive me for people who are sensitive to that word. But he was really just demonstrated himself to be lacking in, I don't know, tact, and he would just say ridiculous things all the time. I remember this is the one thing where he said, like, do that to me once, you can't do it to me again. It was just like some terrible version of, you can't trick me 3 times. He would say things like that all the time. But a TV show that was sort of actively making him look bad, I don't know, it kind of seemed like next level, like, doesn't this just make us look worse? And I think I wasn't the only person who kind of felt that way. As even though it was a good show, it didn't do very well. And you know what? I could be remembered. Maybe it did better than I think, and there was just some sort of pressure to drop it or whatever, but it only lasted the one season. But around that same time, or a little bit after, they do Team America World Police. And now, this has become a great cult, awesome flick, not just because of the soundtrack, because it's puppets. It's like, I forget what they're called. It's based on, I don't know if it's the Thunderbirds or whatever. They're like these little, they look kind of wooden, marionettes. Everything's done with marionettes. There's a marionette sex scene in this movie. It's rated R. It's awesome. It's done like South Park, but there's tons of. I mean, it's done very much like South Park. There's tons of celebrity guests and whatnot, but they're all voiced by the main cast. And people are lampooned like crazy in this movie. I mean, it's just the government and celebrities and just so many different things are on display. The guy is an actor. He's in a version of Rent on Broadway, and it opens up with a song called Everyone Has AIDS, which is like really funny. And the whole movie is just filled with great songs, not to mention America Fuck Yeah, Freedom Isn't Free, which is this great little country song that is in the middle of the movie when things are getting real tough. Freedom isn't free, no, there's a hefty fucking fee, and if you don't throw in your $1.05, who will? It's really just like one of the, when it's funny and when it's good, it's some of the funniest stuff. It's some of the best stuff that you will see. As a movie, you know, and the puppets and stuff, it's kind of a hard one for me to watch sometimes. But like you will get through it. Some people deal with it better, and the songs, the set pieces in it are amazing. There's I don't know if it's like a Kim Jong-il or some crazy madman singing a song called "I'm So Lonely." Because, you know, he doesn't say the L word. I'm so lonely. It's so cute. It's so funny. Team America. If you haven't watched Team America World Police, written by, produced by, like this is a total South Park production, you need to go and check it out. So, you know, in more recent time now, and how all the younger people I know are probably being introduced to them. Well, if you're playing the video games, you got Tenderman's Revenge and The Stick of Truth, which was amazing. But, and Let's Go Tower Defense Party. But the specials that have been coming out post-COVID, the return of COVID. I just watched all these recently. The Streaming Wars, or I should say I've been watching them through over the past year. The Streaming Wars Part 2, Joining the Pandaverse, Not Suitable for Children. And then, I mean, it's so amazing how many video games that they've been putting out too, and the video game stuff is all awesome. Here's South Park. The TV series has been running since '97. Oh, and then recently they just did the Ozempic episode, the end of obesity. This shit is hysterical. You know, what started as something that was kind of culturally different but apt and appropriate for, you know, people in the real world, and seemed to feel a little bit more with the sensibilities of, you know, the man on the street, became something that was like a commentary on society. You know, I have my band Dilf USA. To a little bit, the inspiration of what I wanted to do with Dilf USA was to try to be like South Park, because they'd set themselves up in this way where they would produce their shows during the week. Like, so they would go in for, well, they've done different periods of time. Nowadays, they do shorter periods, but they would go in for, like, let's say a few months, and during those few months, they would make 6 episodes, you know, like in 6 weeks or something. You know, or 8 episodes. They used to do more, so I feel like I don't remember what the top of this schedule is, but they've been doing less. But they'll make a whole bunch of episodes in a matter of weeks, and literally they'll be, you know, putting the one out the door that they started next week as they start the new one, et cetera, et cetera. And that has allowed them to commentate on what is going on, like, at the moment, very quickly. Granted, these specials are a little bit different because they're longer, but I think it's been sort of a matter of, let's do a thing on that. We got a good idea. Cool, and let's do a big special. And they go and they produce it. So I don't know exactly what the schedule is now because I haven't watched any behind the scenes on how they've been producing these specials. But with the TV show, they became super timely. Something would happen, and like a week or so later, South Park would be commenting on it on their show. And I mean, not just commenting, I mean, just tearing people apart. If you want to see Kanye West and Kim Kardashian get lampooned like you have not, like, oh my God, just watch the most recent Kanye West episode. This shit is hysterical. They are making a joke the whole time about how Kim Kardashian and her family are hobbits. And it's really like over the top, but it's so well done. And they keep making this joke. It's just like this absurdist joke. And Kanye comes out of the woodwork to defend his girlfriend. But he starts having a lot of doubts. And he's like, he'll come and he'll stop the whole show to be like, my girl is not a hobbit. And then all of a sudden he'll be saying something, and then he'll have a realization, and he'll dial his cell phone, and he'll turn away from the camera. And he's like, yo, girl, how come, like, you got that guy Gandalf, and you're always like hanging out with him, and you're like smoking the pipe with him? Like, you sure you're not a hobbit? And then obviously on the other line, she's like, no, I'm not a hobbit, and he's like, okay, all right, no, I know you're not a hobbit, okay, love you, okay. And then he gets back to, my girl is not a hobbit. It is so absurd, but at the same time, they always manage to hit on something about this that is really true. His willingness to argue for the absurd. So many different things. It's amazing. There's a great song too, and I don't know I think there's 2 Kanye episodes, and one of them is the gay fish episode where he's he doesn't get this fish sticks joke. Do you like fish sticks? And he says, yeah. He says, well, then you're a gay fish. You like fish sticks. And so he writes this song about being a gay fish. By the end of it, just embracing being a gay fish. It's such a wonderful show. It really is. South Park is just the best. I want to get into some of the characters and just things within the show. I mean, there's just so many aspects that are cool. So, Trey and Matt play a ton of characters on the show. If you hear Matt talk, Matt will tell you that Trey is the magic man, and that he is happily along for the ride, and gets to be sort of the person who plays with him. But really, he's been offered this, that, and the other thing, or whatever. But he always just sort of feels like, I'm not exactly that guy. Trey's that guy, and I am with him. And that partnership and understanding is really cool, because like these guys have been working together for so long, and they're totally from the outside looking in, it does seem like they're both carrying a reasonable amount of weight, like a almost equal amount. I mean, you can tell in some ways that Trey's maybe pulling a little bit more of the weight, but Matt is really there just as strongly when you look at like, the bulk of characters. So like Trey plays Stan, he plays Cartman, he plays Stan's dad, Randy Marsh, he plays Mr. Garrison, he plays Mr. Mackey. He plays Clyde, who's a little bit of a lesser character. He plays Jimmy Valmer. Jimmy Valmer. Steven Stotch, Officer Brady, news reporter, TV announcer. So, I mean, but he's got like 5 of some of the main characters. Meanwhile, though, Matt Stone, he plays Kyle Broflovsky. He's Kenny McCormick. He's Gerald Broflovsky, which is Kyle's dad. They're playing themselves as kids and their parents, essentially. He plays Butters. Yes. He plays Jimbo. He plays Craig, who's had more time over the years. Stuart McCormick, Terrence, Priest Max, Maxie? It's cut off here. They are all over the show. And I mean, there's so many different characters on the show. And you recognize their voices, but sometimes they used to do speeding them up so that they sounded a little bit more like kids. I think they stopped doing that when they got into the 5th grade or 6th grade or whatever. They've slowly aged the kids a little bit over the years, but they've never really changed in their appearance. In the early days of the show, one of the main people was Isaac Hayes as chef, and he was like sort of like their celebrity voice. And Isaac was great as chef. He did a song, what is it? Suck on my chocolate salty balls. Great song. Really some fun stuff from an early episode of the show. But there was a big falling out with him. Basically, he like went rogue and on an interview show was talking shit about South Park and some of the things that like they did or whatever. And they went, oh, fuck that guy. That's really lame. Like, you know, he was able to laugh at this and laugh at this and laugh at this and laugh at this, and he can't laugh at this other thing. So they lampooned him. They basically killed him, brought him back as Darth Vader, a Darth Vader chef, and you haven't seen him since. But some of the early Chef episodes are amazing. Especially the episode with Chef's mom and dad show up, and Chef's dad's talking about the Loch Ness Monster and how the Loch Ness Monster owes him money. And it's just, I wish I remembered the exact story, but he'd show up and he'd be like, yeah, no. And this guy came up and he said, you got 350? And that was around about time I started to realize that this man was a creature from the Mesozoic era. It was the Loch Ness Monster. It's a very funny episode of the show. Just have to take my word for it. You got Mana, Marshall, and April Stewart, who have been playing a lot of the ladies on the show forever. You know, Sheila Broflovsky, Linda Stotch, that's Butter's mom, Sharon Marsh, and Leanne Cartman, Wendy Testaberger, Principal Victoria. I mean, it's really, the characters are so wonderful on the show. The things that a character like Mr. Mackey, who's their teacher, has gone through. I mean, he's not been their teacher. He's come back to be their teacher again. They used him as a metaphor for Trump at a certain point. And I mean, he came out of the closet. He was very early gays in school, being very gay in school, but over the top and inappropriate. And he's very funny. There's tons of great Mr. Garrison episodes. You know, he goes full trans at a certain point. The whole show is awesome, and it's always handled with a certain amount of, not to say realism, but like authenticity to, you know, the jokes and the things being said and the characters. You know, the characters that do the things, like, it's always very authentic. Stan Marsh, his dad Randy, he becomes a much bigger part of the show. He becomes just like this insane person, like this insane everyman, and they do so many good things with him, including making him this enterprising weed farmer, which like falls right into this insane everyman thing that he has. You know, he keeps seeing like sort of like opportunity to live the American dream, and he's just, you know, really wants to be the man and have everybody think he's the man. And through all these things, he causes himself nothing but trouble and comedy for the audience. And Randy is such an interesting one because he's present on the show forever. You know, he's Stan's dad. You know, they have parents this whole time, but he doesn't. Even though like that presence is it's consistent, even though it's not quite so crazy, but who he is as a person is very much there the whole time. And slowly but surely they realize, like, more profoundly and deeply and hysterically who he is as a character, and he just comes out to be more and more. I mean, Cartman is, of course, the breakout, you know, the Bart Simpson, the Darth Vader, their main guy, and the Cartman episodes. I mean, shit, just like go put on a greatest Cartman episodes of South Park of all time. And I mean, you could watch 20 of those and you'll be like, oh my God, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. Go watch Scott Tenorman Must Die. It's one of the best episodes of South Park ever. It's when they really started to get into their stride and the quality. There was a certain amount of slapdash silliness in maybe even the first like 7 seasons. And then all of a sudden, it really matured with itself, and it has not looked back. And that has been the place that it's been ever since. And I think part of this is also them having figured out the magic of storytelling. There's a great video online that you can see of Matt and Trey at a storytelling board. And they're talking about the proper way to tell a story. And it's interesting because basically it follows along with a lot of the universal law that I teach on my Friday show, Everything They Don't Want You to Know. I'm teaching like esoteric wisdom. And some of the main lines, tenets of Kabbalah and the Hermetic principles, they overlap. And it's like these main ways of looking at the universe of it's a mind, and it's all one, and, you know, it's interacting with itself, sort of like swinging to the left and swinging to the right in polarity, and it's hitting all of the different configurations that it can have, and it's this little mathematical system. But it's very much based on a cause and effect. this, so this, so this. The one thing kind of comes out of the other thing, and not kind of, it does. Comes out of the other thing, comes out of the other thing. That's the natural way of your reality. Things are naturally coming out of each other, like one of those troika eggs. When you open the thing up and there's a little one inside, and there's a littler one, and a littler one, and a little one. In reality, when you're making beautiful art or whatever it might be, you're looking to recreate an organic and sacred geometric nature that exists in our reality. Granted, some art can be something that's counter to that thing, but to some degree, the highest art, the highest thing, coming up with a really good style within your art, like Art Adams, who doesn't draw like humanity, like it doesn't look exactly like human beings when you see it. It's a cartoon sort of version of it. However, if you look at art stuff, you'll see there is a sacred geometric pattern that runs throughout every piece of art that he has. He's seen it. He's figured it out. He's figured out the measurement between the eyes and the side of the face, and he's laying down that math. But that math has a consistency, which is showing you his style. It's allowing you to go, oh yeah, that's Art Adams. I can recognize his stuff anywhere. And the thing about it that's ultimately grabbing you is this beautiful, organic math that he's kind of felt, put into the place. And when it comes to storytelling, this is very, very important. It's like storytelling 101. It's cause and effect. A lot of people, it's like, this thing, and then there's this other thing, and then there's this other thing, and then there's this other thing. There's a lot of and then. And Matt and Trey basically lay it down of this happens, and so this happens. I think they had multiple ways of saying it, but the and so, this happens, so this happens. This happens, which causes this to happen. Their storytelling is all layered, built upon what's our set piece, what is it that's supposed to happen? This happens, and it creates a cascade of these other things. And then the whole show ends up being a beautiful cause and effect where everything is very much referential to the things that set them up in the first place, and everything comes to a very satisfying conclusion because everything is based out of the natural reaction, the natural response to whatever happened in the story. So when they hit their stride with their storytelling, they really went next level. It was always great. It was shocking. It was interesting. It was funny. But this was when they became really brilliant at what they did. And just so much wonderful stuff has come from that, including like the upgrades of so many characters, even characters like Butters, who really became one of the lead boys at various times. Characters like Token, who've been just kind of the background. His name was Token. He was the Token Black. The Token Black character. And they literally did an episode recently where Stan finds out that his name's not Token, it's Tolkien, named after J.R.R. Tolkien. And that Stan's a racist asshole who just thought they had told him that his name was Token. And he was like, that's crazy. Why would you name your kid Token? And, but it's Tolkien. So, this guy's been in the show since the very beginning. He was the one black kid. I'm pretty positive Token is in the Spirit of Christmas episode. So, wow, full circle. Years later, and we reveal his name's Tolkien and Stan's a dick. It's just hysterical. Looking at some of the other bits, right? So Adrian Beard, he plays Token Black or Token Williams, and various characters. Eliza Snider. Just looking at some of these so I can see if there's any other good characters to talk about. Jessica Mackinson. Yeah, they have a lot of girls who come in to do some of the female characters. In more recent time, they've had Bill Hader join the show. He's great. I really like Bill Hader. He's on like the writing staff, but he also will do some voices and stuff. And occasionally you'll hear him show up. And he did Alec Baldwin on the show recently, and he's been doing Ike Broflovsky. But then it's Farmer Number 2, Newsman, Federal Agent, Plex, Steve. Random characters, but their staff is obviously great. Most of the voice stuff is being done by them, and their short list of people. But their writing staff is just clutch. And a lot of people, I think now at this point, have kind of come through there and been able to go on to other things. I can't say that there's like a lot of people that you would know, but Kristen Shaw, she was a consultant writer on 2 episodes. Like, you know her maybe, but it's not a lot. But the bulk, of these episodes, 6, 9, 11, 13, 15, 16, 17, and then you got Kyle McCulloch, 56 episodes. Nancy M. Pimentel, 62 episodes. David R. Goodman, 88 episodes. Brian Graydon, 280 episodes. Matt Stone and Trey Parker, 323 episodes. So, the bulk of this stuff is Matt and Trey. They really are keeping it tight. They went on to win Tonys for the Book of Mormon, which a lot of people have seen that and kind of know them as more respectably from the Book of Mormon, which is super cool. Book of Mormon's great. It's not one of my favorite plays, but I think it's awesome. I think it's very funny. I think it's really good. I just went in with super high expectations because I love them so much. So I was maybe a little disappointed, but I understand why people love that so much. It really is awesome. So beyond the characters and the writing and the actors direct is just the various premises. For episodes, and I'm going to kind of try to go around. So in the early seasons, episode 1 is Cartman gets an anal probe. So he gets abducted by aliens, and he ends up having like a freaking satellite coming out of his ass. It's ridiculous. The Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride, an early episode. An elephant makes love to a pig is episode 5. There's a death episode. Kenny keeps dying. Starvin' Marvin. There's this Ethiopian boy who comes and he only speaks in clicks, and he's like really, really skinny. Shows up, and of course, episode 9, Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo. There's Christmas music from the Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo episode that is fucking awesome. I listen to that stuff every year. In 98, it just continues. You got Mecca Streisand and Cartman's Mom's a Dirty Slut. There's an early song in some of the early episodes, which is Kyle's Mom's a Big Fat Bitch. Kyle's Mom's a big fat bitch. She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. She's a mean old bitch. She has stupid hair and she's a stupid bitch. Woo! Kyle's Mom's a bitch. Yeah, she's such a dirty bitch. In season 2, episode 1, I think is the beginning of getting introduced to Terrence and Phillip, who are the Canadian show that the kids love, and all they do is fart jokes. And I think this was a response to people saying that South Park was just terrible animation. It was fart jokes. So they made even more terribly animated characters from Canada. And these guys all have this like head, like the baby that they did, who he's got like a certain head. They made it that he's Canadian. He's adopted. So it was a great little way to tie it in. Cartman's Mom is still a dirty slut. Chicken Lover. These are the early episodes of the show. Chef's Chocolate Salty Balls I spoke about earlier. It's really everything's great, and this stuff will sound I don't know, sillier or like stupider, but there's a lot of intelligence on display in everything that they do, and it really just is ever present, despite how stupid, their approach and how flagrant whatever it is they might be saying. There's a lot of intelligence going on behind the scenes. So in season 4, you get Cartman's silly hate crime. They start really like going for things a little bit more straightforwardly. Cartman joins NAMBLA. That's the North American Man-Boy Love Association. Do the Handicap Go to Hell is a great episode. They get nervous that Jimmy is, because he can only say Jimmy, that he can't get baptized. So he's going to go to hell based on what they tell him in church. So the boys get together to baptize him so that he won't go to hell. It's super sweet. That underpinning of sweetness that, these are kids, and kids are ultimately, good on whatever level, is, it permeates the whole show and makes everything work that much better. They move up to 4th grade in the 4th season. There's so many Fat Camp. Cartman gets sent to Fat Camp. There's so many great Cartman episodes. So it Scott Tenorman Must Die, which is one of the greatest episodes, is in season 5, episode 4. Cartman Land, Towley gets introduced in season 5. Like, this is where they start getting it. It gets to the next level. Kenny dies in the penultimate episode, and then Butters gets his own episode, and he gets upgraded. And that's, I think, where things really came into another level. When Kenny dies, like officially, even though Kenny comes back, and then Butters becomes like a main character, and they start playing with some of the other characters at different times in the show. And they introduce Butters, his little secret persona that occasionally will come up, Professor Chaos. And they all have like their own little superhero personas that eventually come in, some of which are utilized in the video games that they've done. The Death Camp of Tolerance is also in 6th season. The Biggest Douche in the Universe awards. I think that might be the episode where Chef's dad shows up talking about the Loch Ness Monster over and over again. This is really where South Park becomes South Park, but by the end of the 5th season, going into the 6th and the 7th. And it just goes like that for forever. I mean, I'm looking at various shows to see some of the ones that are the best to talk about, but like All About Mormons and Casa Bonita. Those episodes are really interesting in a lot of ways because Casa Bonita was based on a real place that they'd been to. They lived in Colorado, these guys, and like they knew that area. They knew this space a little bit. And Casa Bonita was a super dope place to go if you were a kid. And they decided to write into the episode as basically the prize for Cartman. He desperately wants to go to Casa Bonita. There's people nearby who are it's their birthday or whatever. They're going to go to Casa Bonita, and he wants to get invited to the party so he can go to Casa Bonita. And I won't fucking spoil it because it's so damn funny. But the payoff of this show will just have you rolling. I mean, it is just a punchline to end all punchlines. And the crazy thing about Casa Bonita beyond that is they have purchased the real Casa Bonita, and it ended up becoming a huge money pit for them. And but they stuck it out, and they've been fixing up Casa Bonita in Colorado, and you can go there now. So you can go to Casa Bonita, and I know there's some minor South Park references there from but it's being authentically put back together from their love as kids, and apparently it's definitely been a bit of a thing. I think they made a documentary about it. I'm excited to watch. I recommend any behind the scenes things on Matt and Trey. They're funny, they're fun, so anything that you watch with them is engaging. They're always just fucking around, and it's really always fun to watch. And when they are talking sense, when they're talking about writing, when they're talking about making things, they know what they're talking about. They are always just on the money. And every time I see them talk, I just go, this is why everything you make is so great, because you guys get it. They get it on so many levels. So in that 7th season as well, you've got the introduction of the concept of the Mormons being the only religion that has it right. Basically, everybody shows up in hell, even the people that you think of as good, except the Mormons. They're the ones in heaven. And I think it's on that episode where, or maybe it's later, but it's like, so who had it right? It was the Mormons. Yes, the Mormons. Everybody else is going to hell. Which is just such a great concept that has come time and time again. In season 8, as they really are coming to their own, they do an anime episode where not the whole episode's animated, but when the boys are playing and they're play fighting, they're imagining that they're these anime characters. It's awesome seeing Cartman all animate out and everything. It's really, really well done. And then people get hurt, and like it starts in animation of like anime thing because they're playing, and then all of a sudden like somebody gets really badly injured, and then it cuts to little kid is really badly injured and he's crying, and they got to take him to the hospital. It's very funny, but just it's hit after hit after hit. They get into such a stride here. In this 8th season, you've got friggin' Awesemo. There's a great episode, Up the Down Steroid, where they've got basically these two analogs for the Mice and Men characters, the sort of leading guy and then his big doofus security guy. I forget what those characters are called. They're very funny. They've shown Mimsy and the other guy. I don't know how to tell you how great this is beyond everything that I'm saying and more. In the 14th episode of this season, It's the Woodland Critter Christmas, and it's this satanic Christmas, but it's like sweet and wholesome because the Woodland Critters, like, they have a wholesome view of Satan. It's very funny. Very funny. Very funny. It just I can't believe, I mean, it's like, I'm just on season 9. And there's 30 seasons of this. And just every season is just things that I will never forget. It's really, I'm trying to like pick and choose my things. The Ginger Kids episode in season 9, the Free Wilsix was they try to free the killer whale. And he ends up landing on somebody and killing them in the end. The Return of Chef, is that maybe when they destroy him? The Cartoon Wars, part 1 and 2, where they lampoon Family Guy and they lampoon The Simpsons. I mean, really, really some great stuff. Or the Smug Alert. People are shitting out of their own mouths because they're getting high on smug. Hopefully I'm not crossing some of these great episodes together. A Million Little Fibers. Towley he writes his tell-all book about his rough existence as a drug addict. A drug towel. Or Man Bear Pig, the crazy monster created by Al Gore and his fear-mongering about about the climate change. Instead of the climate change, it's Man Bear Pig. Man Bear Pig, it's real. And Man Bear Pig is real, and he's running around, he's ripping people apart in South Park. This shit, it's crazy. Oh, Make Love, Not Warcraft. That's amazing. They all start getting fat because they're just playing Warcraft all the time, and they're like trying to defeat some guy who embarrassed them in the game. Jesus, this shit is just so fucking good, man. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on like going through fucking South Park episodes. So do this. Go watch their musicals. Watch Cannibal the Musical. Watch Orgasmo. Watch Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. Check out the South Park season that they did. I mean, the That's My Bush season that they did. Check out Team America, World Police. And watch South Park from the very beginning to the very end. And then if you fucking love all that stuff, dig into a couple of these other little freaking gems that I haven't done. A couple of these shorts and stuff. I'm kind of tempted to watch American History, the short, and find this TV series Time Warped. There's only 2 episodes, but I want to see it. But I'm telling you, Orgasmo is worth your time. Cannibal the Musical is worth your time, just like the Book of Mormon is worth your time. I thought Book of Mormon and Cannibal the Musical and the other one were kind of comparable. I was hoping Book of Mormon would be better. But if you loved Book of Mormon, you'll love Cannibal the Musical. You'll love Orgasmo. Like I said, Basketballs, they didn't write. And you will find them showing up as actors in a couple things. Apparently he was in, Trey Parker was in Run, Ronnie, Run. And there's like a couple little places where they're not credited. Mostly they just work on their stuff. But their stuff is so great. They did a little tour where they were playing music, and you can find that online. Some of the best tunes that they've written for various songs, playing with really great musicians, and it was a great show. I happened to catch it on an airplane because it was on like regular TV, and it was excellent. I'll see if I can find the name of that in particular before I leave us. Also, as some little notes, they got in Despicable Me 3, Trey Parker was cast as their bad guy, something Brat, and that was really cool to see him do that. He's just a great comedic actor. I think his delivery is awesome. And their music is showing up on soundtracks all over now. Some of the stuff, like I said, it's just really, really fun and has become so much a deep part of the culture that other people are using it for their stuff, even though it started out as a South Park thing or something else. But it's just, I mean, you've got months of time, especially if you like add in these video games. Their video games are so fucking fun, so funny. Oh, I finally found it. DVDA. That's the name. It's double vaginal, double anal. It's the name of their band, DVDA, and they're like a punk band. What Would Brian Boitano Do, I think, is a DVDA song that was put into South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. So if you can find some DVDA things, I think I had found some back in the day, and they had some funny songs beyond that one. But I'm not remembering off the top of my head. Yeah, the last thing I'll say is, if you are a writer, if you're somebody who wants to produce, content of any kind, I highly recommend you checking out any of the behind the scenes stuff, any behind the scenes on South Park in particular, even the music, them playing the music and them talking about things in between, they have a lot of great energy to give you, and they would inspire the fuck out of you if you just listen to them talk for a little bit about making stories, making people laugh, engaging with people on whatever level. They know how to do it. They show up and they do it every time. There's lots of creative people that age, and like they age out of their ability to be awesome and be creative, but not Trey and Matt, man. They really, I've heard some things about them behind the scenes that make me think they're weirdos, but most of the brilliant creative people on planet Earth are. I can't fault them because they're getting the results every single time. I mean, really, just like nothing they make is not worth at least a single viewing. The last thing I will say is the South Park. It's called South Park, the 25th anniversary concert, and it was in 2022. Great. 25th anniversary, and they played just tons of the best songs. There's so many episodes. I just went through like 9 seasons, and I was naming just a few episodes here and a few episodes there. It's all great, and it's great every season. There's never been a season of South Park where I was like, I don't know, man, they lost it. There's always at least a few episodes that I am just like, oh my God, did you see that one? There's an episode or two that's not as awesome as the others, but they are so fucking consistent. So that's it, man. That's all I have to say. Trey Parker, Matt Stone, two of the most brilliant guys in entertainment. If you're not listening to my music show, it's every Monday. It's All Your Favorite Bands Suck. I just did my 50th episode, so there's 50 awesome bands that you can go check out. I'm doing Blink-182 next week, but I just did All American Rejects, and I did Exhibit, rap music, humor music. Like I said, I did Trey Parker and Matt Stone. It's a great show. And then every Friday I do Everything They Don't Want You to Know, Esoteric Wisdom. You should check it out. And if you haven't already gone on to Kickstarter and typed in Kneel Before Doomface to go back Aaron's book, you only got like 6 days, I think. All right, do that now. Anyway, I hope you join me this coming Saturday when I'm going to be talking about some awesome movie or some awesome show. I haven't picked out which one yet. And again next Wednesday for another fucking awesome episode of The Coolest Geek Alive. Love you guys. Give her a stare. Peace. You've been listening to Coolest Geek Alive with me, your host, Jesse Blaze Snider. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more excellent geek culture content. Thanks for listening.
It's my favorite part. Isn't that heavy? I played that. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Coolest alive. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Stay with your tribe. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Revenge of the Geeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Week after weeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Laughing with you. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And crying sometimes too. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Spelling it out. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Making you shout. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Talking some shit. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Living your shit. My voice is gonna be fucking awesome. Food in our mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Get in the mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Tell all your friends. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Call right or text. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Raising the bar. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Straight to the stars. It's gonna be fucking awesome. It's starting soon. Straight to the top of the awesome. Passing the moon. It's gonna be fucking awesome. On with the show. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Ready, set, go. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Just wait. You'll see. You'll all see.
The podcast playground.